Hi, I'm Gaby Langendorf, and I'm Northwestern's Manager of Teacher Certification and Licensure. I'm also one of the Master of Science in Education program's academic advisors. And I'm here today to talk to you about some resources that the MSED program has put together that we think you may find helpful as you consider your options for financing the MSED program. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Why Northwestern's MSED program? Here are just some of the things that we think makes us special and that we would like you to consider. We are focused on equity and social justice. We have experienced faculty and staff. We have small and personalized class sizes, which allows you to receive the support you need and to make those important connections with your instructors. We have classwork options towards an English as a second language and/or bilingual endorsement. We have individualized advising. The clinical experience as part of our program will allow you to have that practical in-field learning experience as an educator. The community engaged action research part of the program will allow you to explore an area of interest to you within education. We have job search and career support that extends beyond graduation, and we have an extensive professional and alumni network. Here is an overview of the different topics I'm going to talk to you about. I'm going to discuss MSED tuition, MSED fellowships and graduate assistant positions. I'm going to run through slides that the Graduate Financial Aid Office has graciously put together regarding student loans. I'm going to talk about general information regarding content area coursework requirements for licensure. I'll review other fellowships, grants, and scholarships, and other graduate assistant positions on campus, information that we have put together regarding them, and other positions students have found helpful. The tuition rate for the 2022-2023 academic year is $3,958 per course unit. Once the information for the 2023-2024 academic year becomes available, it will be posted to our website. The elementary and secondary teaching concentrations have a base of 15 units to complete the degree. For educational studies and learning sciences, candidates take 12 units to complete the degree. Here you'll see listed the 2022-2023 tuition rate. So for elementary and secondary teaching, that's $59,370. For educational studies or learning sciences, that's $47,496. Elementary and secondary teaching candidates should review their content area coursework licensure requirements carefully. So these are the coursework requirements in the subject of interest that you are interested in teaching in. So for example, math, science biology, social science history, English language arts, etc. You should have had a full licensure review worksheet that detailed which coursework requirements were left to complete for your content area. Any extra course requirements above and beyond the base of 15 units for the degree will result in additional tuition charges. It may be possible to take some of those content area licensure coursework requirements at another institution. Again, the content area coursework licensure requirements are requirements beyond the 15 units for secondary and elementary teaching candidates. To calculate your core tuition expenses, consider the following: the core degree requirements in number of units, plus any extra content area licensure requirements, this is for elementary and secondary teaching only, is going to give you the total units required for the program. Once you have the total units, multiply that by the tuition rate per unit to calculate your total tuition. Additional expenses to consider are: core tuition rates exclude the cost of books, transportation, licensure tests, and fees. If you feel like you need additional support for licensure tests, there may be some additional financial aid support for that based on need. Make sure to contact your advisor to learn more about that. During the clinical experiences, practicum and student teaching quarters of the pre-service teacher program, Candidates are required to engage in full-day K-12 school experiences. Tuition typically increases 2 to 4% each academic year. The MSED website, like I said before, will be updated with the 2023-2024 tuition rate as soon as it becomes available. The MSED program has some fellowships and graduate assistant positions. Our program aims to have initial award decisions by mid-February, but please note that additional decisions are made on an ongoing basis. If you expressed interest in a graduate assistant position in your application, you will be considered in the selection process. When making award and graduate assistant position decisions, a priority is placed on building a learning community with diverse lived experiences, perspectives, and goals, and dedication to the program's guiding commitments. A link here to the guiding commitments is available for you to explore at your leisure. For more details, please also visit our financial assistance webpage on our website. I'm now going to talk to you about some slides that the Graduate Financial Aid Office put together regarding student loans. There is a lot of information on the following slides, so I'm going to briefly talk about each slide, but I may not cover every single detail on the slide. I encourage you to carefully look through the information on these slides on your own. These slides and the recording will be posted to our website. So something to keep in mind is the COVID-19 emergency relief and federal student aid, which is currently ongoing and currently being revised. So some of these bullet points may change over the next few months. If your loans are eligible, now just as to preface this, this is for students with current outstanding student loan balances. So if you're a prospective student or a newly enrolled student in the program, newly admitted student in the program, the loans, this information that I'm about to talk about does not pertain to loans for the MSED program. If your loans are eligible, federal student aid automatically paused your loan payments and set your interest rate to 0% starting March 13th, 2020. This payment pause is also known as the administrative forbearance. If you make loan payments during the 0% interest period, the full amount of your payments will be applied to your principal balance once you've paid all the interest that accrued prior to March 13, 2020, and any fees. Your servicer will contact you ahead of time to remind you when you need to start making payments again. Make sure your contact information is up to date in your profile on your loan servicer's website. Again, this is helpful information for any of you who have loans already prior to the start of the MSED program. Okay, so some key topics. What types of student loans are available? How do I apply for loans? How much can I borrow? How do I defer payment on my prior student loans? When do I begin loan repayment? And then some information on the public service loan forgiveness and teacher loan forgiveness programs. So very important to consider are federal versus private student loans. So here are some highlights. For federal loans, the funds come from the U.S. Treasury. The terms are set by the U.S. Congress, and the interest rates are fixed. Payment is optional while in school. You do have a grace period or equivalent before repayment begins. There are flexible repayment options. Deferments, forbearance, forgiveness, and cancellation are available based on need. No penalty for prepayment. Private loans, funds come from the lender. Terms vary with each lender. The interest rates may be fixed or variable, which means that they'll change over time. Interest rates are based on the borrower's credit. Interest may be capitalized, and it may require minimum payments while in school. Eligibility for federal student loans. Some things to consider: you must be a permanent resident or citizen of the United States. You do need to be enrolled at least half-time, which means 2 units for the quarters for which you are borrowing loan funds. You cannot borrow for past loan periods. The loan period for which you are borrowing funds must have an end date in the future, and you must be in good standing on any prior federal loans. One type of federal loan is the federal direct unsubsidized loan. Interest accrues from the date of disbursement. Payment is optional while in school. It does have a fixed interest rate. It does have an origination fee deducted from each disbursement. There is an annual maximum of $20,500 and a total aggregate lifetime maximum of $138,500. There is a 6-month grace period before repayment begins, and there are 6 different repayment plans. Another type of loan is called the Federal Direct Grad Plus loan. It supplements the Federal Direct Unsubsidized loan. Interest accrues from the date of disbursement. Payment is optional while in school. There are interest rates that are fixed, so the interest rate is fixed. There is an origination fee deducted from each disbursement. There is no annual or aggregate maximum. You may borrow up to full cost of attendance minus other funding. It does require a basic credit check by the U.S. Department of Education. Students not approved on their own may appeal to reapply with a credit-worthy endorser. There's a 6-month post-enrollment deferment period, which is equivalent to a grace period, and there are 6 different repayment plans. Private student loans. For students who are not eligible for federal loans, some things to consider: perhaps you're enrolled less than half-time, so less than 2 units. You're borrowing funds for a past loan period, not currently enrolled. You're an international student. Most lenders require a credit-worthy cosigner who is a permanent resident or citizen of the United States, just something to keep in mind. It is subject to credit approval and may require a cosigner. The lender determines the interest rate for each individual borrower. Some considerations when comparing loan products: is the interest rate fixed or variable? If variable, how often does the rate change? Is there a cap on how high the interest rate can go? How often is unpaid interest capitalized? Are there penalties for prepayment? Sorry about that. You can apply directly on the lender's website. Once approved, you must notify the Office of Graduate Financial Aid for loan certification to be completed. Applying for federal student loans. To confirm your eligibility for federal student loans, you must complete the free application for federal student aid. The link is provided here, and so is Northwestern University's school code. The 2023-2024 FAFSA is based on the 2021 tax returns. Once you complete your FAFSA, the U.S. Department of Education will send you a student aid report. Submit any documentation requested by your office, such as proof of citizenship or other identifying information. Your loan offer. Once we receive your FAFSA, we will confirm your eligibility for federal student loans. When your loan offer is completed, we will send an email to your Northwestern email address with instructions for accepting or declining your loans through CSER and completing the loan requirements at studentaid.gov. CSER is the Computer-Assisted Electronic Student Access Route. Your loan offer will consist of a combination of federal direct unsubsidized and Grad Plus loans in an amount equal to your cost of attendance, minus any other funding. To calculate your cost of attendance. So the cost of attendance is your maximum budget amount for that academic year. To calculate, consider your tuition plus the Northwestern University Student Health Insurance Plan plus your cost of living allowance, and that will equal your cost of attendance. Something to note is that the Northwestern University Student Health Insurance Plan can be waived if you have other comparable health coverage. Your cost of attendance minus any other funding you receive, so that includes grants, scholarships, federal work-study funds, etc., determines the amount you may borrow in student loans for that academic year. So here is a set of allowances based on averages for your quarterly cost of living allowance. So here's like a breakdown, again, based on averages. So some things to consider: room and board, personal expenses, transportation, books, loan fees. Your loan offer will include a total cost of living allowance of $8,310 per quarter. Loan requirements. Once you accept your loans, there are loan requirements to complete. You can do so at studentaid.gov before the loan funds can be dispersed. So that includes entrance counseling. It includes completing your mastery promissory note. And make sure you check your to-do list on Caesar for outstanding loan requirements. Your to-do list will be updated within a week of completing the loan requirement online at studentaid.gov. Loan disbursement. All loan funds are applied directly to your Northwestern University customer account. Tuition is billed quarterly, again, based on your enrollment, and loan funds are scheduled for quarterly disbursement just prior to the start of each term. The anticipated loan credit on your Northwestern customer account covers the balance until the actual funds are disbursed. Loan funds in excess of tuition, so for books, rent, food, etc., can be transferred from your Northwestern customer account to your bank account via Caesar. Loan adjustments. To reduce or cancel your loans, send your request via email to the Office of Graduate Financial Aid. Here's the email address to use. All accrued interest and loan fees are reversed when loan funds are returned within 120 days of disbursement. If you need additional loan funds, contact the Office of Graduate Financial Aid and they will review your budget. Notify the office if there are any changes in your enrollment. For example, if you drop below half-time, because remember, you are not eligible for federal loans if you drop below 2 units per term. Let them know about any additional funding, as they may need to adjust loans. And you do need to reapply for financial aid each academic year. Deferring payment on prior student loans. All federal loans offer in-school deferments. Once you're enrolled for the quarter, the Northwestern Registrar reports your student status monthly to the National Student Clearinghouse. To obtain your current enrollment status, most lenders servicers will access the National Student Loan Data System. Assuming you're registered at least half-time, so again, 2 units per term, your federal loans should be automatically deferred. If your lender or servicer requires a paper deferment form, you can request enrollment verification via Caesar. Some loans accrue interest during deferment, and the unpaid interest will be capitalized at the end of the period of deferment. Loan repayment. Payment is deferred while you are in school, again, as long as you're enrolled at least half-time. In-school status ends when you graduate, withdraw, or drop below half-time. Repayment begins at the end of the 6-month grace period for federal direct unsubsidized loans and the 6-month post-enrollment deferment for federal direct Grad Plus loans. Borrowers of federal student loans are required to complete online exit counseling. Your lender or federal loan servicer will contact you before repayment begins. So the next couple of slides, we'll go over some loan forgiveness options. One is the public service loan forgiveness. Only direct loans are eligible. You must work full-time, so 30 plus hours per week for 10 years in public service. So public service would include things like federal, state, or local government, public schools and colleges, which is where most of our interest lies, nonprofit tax-exempt organizations, and military service. It does not have to be continuous work. After making 120 qualifying on-time loan payments after October 1st, 2007, your entire loan balance is forgiven. Here's a link for additional details. Another type of forgiveness is the teacher loan forgiveness. So here are the following eligibility requirements. You must not have an outstanding balance on direct loans or federal family education loan program. You must be employed full-time as a highly qualified teacher for 5 complete and consecutive academic years. You must be employed at an elementary school, secondary school, or educational service agency that serves low-income students. Loans for which you are seeking forgiveness must have been dispersed before the end of your 5 academic years of qualifying teacher service. Maximum forgiveness amount is either $17,500 or $5,000, depending on the subject area taught. Again, here's a link for more details. Again, these slides on loans were created by the Office of Graduate Financial Aid. So if you do have any questions at all, please contact the Office of Graduate Financial Aid, and their contact information is found here. Okay. I see actually if I can. Okay, that's good. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead now and talk to you about those content area licensure requirements. So again, when I refer to content area coursework licensure requirements, it's that coursework related to the specific subject you would like to teach if you are an elementary or secondary teacher candidate. You should have received with your admittance letter a full review of any coursework requirements you may still have left to fulfill for your subject area, for that content area you would like to teach. Again, this is if you're elementary or a secondary teaching candidate. Those content area requirements, right, if you say have 3 courses left to take, those would be 3 courses beyond the 15 units required for elementary and secondary teaching for the degree. Any of the content area courses may be taken off campus, so outside of Northwestern. If you do so, a petition to take coursework off campus is required if you're doing so while enrolled in the MSED program. Please contact your advisor to make sure that the course you would like to take at another academic institution qualifies, and to fill out that petition as well. So that may include courses, for example, at a community college. We just have to make sure that that course is transferable to a 4-year institution. So we will need to double check that because not all courses at, for example, a community college are transferable to a 4-year institution. If you take content area requirements prior to starting the program, you do not need to fill out a petition, but I still recommend you reach out to your advisor to make sure that the course does fulfill the requirement. You can, of course, take the course at Northwestern as well for any coursework left to be fulfilled. And we can provide, as advisors, we can provide suggestions for which courses might be good ones to take, depending on the requirement left to be fulfilled. Please note that federal student loan aid is only available for use at academic institutions where you are enrolled in a degree program. So you can't use federal student loans, for example, if you take the course outside of Northwestern. If you have any content area coursework requirements left, please review them with your advisor. I cannot stress that enough prior to taking any courses to make sure the courses will fulfill the requirement. Okay, so here is a list of resources that we have compiled on scholarships, grants, and fellowships. The first link links to the Northwestern Office of Fellowships, which is a database full of all fellowships. So some may not apply to those in the MSED program, depending on your career aspirations. This link here links to other databases that Northwestern has compiled, and I encourage you to look through them on your own time. For example, this first one says English Teaching Opportunities Interactive Map, Illinois Database of Grants and Fellowships for Graduate Students, and so on. This link here is a compiled list of fellowships, scholarships, and grants that our graduate assistants put together. It includes, again, a variety of scholarships, grants, fellowships, for example, the Minority Teachers of Illinois Scholarship, James Madison Memorial Fellowship Foundation, and the list goes on. Again, I encourage you to look through these carefully and check eligibility requirements and also due dates. Some of them have due dates as early as like March. Here is another link to a site that has information on teaching scholarships and grants. And then lastly, there's this article in Resilient Educator, again, going through some resources for teachers to finance their studies. Some of the information might be included in multiple spots within these links. Graduate assistantships and other campus jobs to consider. So like I mentioned, we do have graduate assistant positions with the MSED program, but just so you know, there are many graduate assistant positions all over campus, and we encourage you to apply to any and all of them. So it's just some of the ones, besides the MSED ones, that our students have taken part in include the graduate assistant position with the Distinguished Secondary School Teacher Award. There is a link here to that, and you can find helpful contact information if you wanted to reach out to someone regarding that. We have had a student, or students, I should say, have graduate assistant positions with One Book, One Northwestern. Again, the link is there for you to look through. We have also had students work as peer leaders with the Academic Support and Learning Advancement Center, or ASLA. And we, of course, encourage you to contact a Northwestern department, program, or lab. For example, maybe you are a secondary teaching candidate for math, right? We encourage you to contact the math department. Or maybe you are a secondary teaching math candidate, or you're an educational studies candidate, but you have a background in psychology. Go ahead and contact the psychology department. And it doesn't have to be subject-specific departments. There are so many departments on campus that you could reach out to. And again, we do encourage you for teaching assistant positions, graduate assistant positions, or research assistant positions. Some other work options while in MSED to consider. A substitute teaching position. You can apply for a substitute teaching license directly through the Illinois State Board of Education. For requirements and information on how to obtain a substitute teaching license, the website is linked here. Once enrolled, MSED does host a workshop to help with that process. Tutoring and nanny positions have also been popular in the past amongst our students. If interested, please let your advisor know, as we do keep a list of families in the area who reach out to CESP with opportunities. Any other relevant opportunities that we become aware of will be shared with students. Please note that maintaining a full-time job while in MSED programs is not recommended. However, many students have successfully navigated work and school with flexible and/or part-time positions. Thank you. So again, the recording and slides will be posted to our website. Thank you and have a great day.